Hey folks, Mark Rose, Orion Jackson Kayak, pro staff guy. I'm out here on Kentucky Lake when we are in fall transition time. And as you can tell, as we'll start fishing here in a little bit, or right now, and you'll be able to see in the background that the lake is starting to get into the winter drawdown. There's no water in the bushes. And what you need to think about in the fall, a couple things. One is shad. I mean, in the springtime, we think crawfish, lizards, all that type of stuff is being the forage. And it is, because you want to, fish are starting to think about laying eggs, and you want to fish with anything that they are, the fish are against, you know, anything that they want to try to keep away from their nest and all, and worms and lizards and all that kind of stuff. And then crawfish is just like a banana split to a bass. I mean, they just love them all the time. But fall, these fish really, as the water starts to pull down out off the bank, they get on these schools of shad and they just migrate around with them. I mean, they use them as shade, they use them as cover, oxygen, all those types of things. And you don't have a whole lot of cover in the water, so the fish just roam around with the shad. And think backs of pockets, things like that. If you can find a little hump or something leading to the back of a creek, like we just have a feeder creek off the main river, and it's real flat in here, and there's one little point right in this area that I found yesterday, and we're gonna fish this little point. There's some shad on it. As the wind blows these shad across this little point and this little bar, these fish are just setting up here feeding, and they'll eventually get off of this, because there's still 9 or 10 feet right here, and they'll work their way back, because the shad will all work their way back in the backs of this pocket. Just think, it's been hot all year. Water temperatures in the 80s, 82, 84, and then the surface temperature in these cooler nights start getting cooling off that surface temperature. That's what they like. Just like if you're in a hot summer day, you've been working out in the yard, and a cloud comes over, a little breeze, gets a little bit cooler, drops the temperature down 10, 15 degrees, it feels good to you. Same way with fishing. As it starts to get, it might have a cold front. I mean, it might get down in the 40s, but the water temperature is so hot that, you know, that feels really good to them. So we're gonna get out here, we're gonna fish, we're gonna use a Strike King bullworm to fish around the bottom, but then we're gonna throw a Z2, a spoon, hair jig, Strike King 5XD crankbait. We're just gonna run the gamut with open water, shad type baits. But this worm is also good. If you're fishing a piece of cover, isolated, a target, it's also good to try to see if they're locked in on the bottom. And if they're on the bottom, man, you can catch them real good like that. But 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be a moving, fast bait. So we'll see if they're locked on the bottom right here, where we can catch them. If not, we're just gonna kind of roam around with all the shad, fast moving stuff.